Hello there. Leviathan has arrived. This weekend marks the launch of Warhammer 40K 10th edition with the launch box Leviathan, containing Tyranids and Space Marines. It also comes with the rulebook and the mission data cards, as well as some transfer sheets for your Space Marines. Lots of miniatures, jam-packed. So this box comes with Space Marines, Tyranids, the launch box exclusive version of the rulebook, the chapter approved Leviathan mission deck, and a transfer sheet. Let's get it open. So I haven't opened this yet. So it's got some nice box art. The side of the box, when you take the lid off, has some of the painted up models printed on the side there for your viewing pleasure. Comes with a insert to sort of help protect the box from damage and protect the models as well. You'll notice on some of this, like there's some slight dents and stuff, and that's what this is in there for, to hopefully prevent them from getting damaged. Reverse side printing. You could probably frame this as a poster if you really wanted to. So we get right into the models. So we have a Dreadnought chassis. So here we have some of the Dreadnought parts for the Space Marine side. This is pretty cool. The guns are rotatable. They actually, the way they socket in, you can pull them out and replace them if you had other components with similar type sockets for this type of Dreadnought. Then it looks like we have some Tyranid bits here. Looks like this is two separate sets of Tyranids. So I think with this one, and I won't know till I look at the assembly instructions, of course, but with this one, it looks like the Screamer Killer and potentially the Neuro Tyrant. I believe that this section is for the Neuro Tyrant, but and then the little tokens the Neuro Tyrant comes with. This one is part of the new Anti-Psyker Tyranid. This is for the Psychophage. I would maybe it is. Maybe there's nothing else to it. It's just this one sprue. That's pretty nice. And if you didn't get this box, it is kind of nice if you're interested in Tyranids, because if this model's on a single sprue, the more likely it is it's going to be released as its own box at some point. Not a guarantee, but if you didn't really want to purchase this whole box, you could. It hopefully will be coming out relatively shortly, or at least with the codex, along with. I would also suspect that based on the Necron release for 9th edition, that there would be additional sculpts or monsters coming out for the Tyranids, but I have not perused their index. Of course, if there are new stuff coming out, they may not have put them in the index. Also a possibility. These were more of the Gaunts. Either Neurogons or Termagants. Looks like Termagants. Lots of Gaunts in this box, I believe. Should be 20 Gaunts at least, along with some Ripper Swarms. Okay, that is Space Marines, so we'll leave that for right now. Here we have the Lictors, or Von Ryan's Leapers. I think that's what those look like. I'm quickly running out of desk space. That is a Space Marine. We'll come back. I think maybe we've gotten... Nope, there is one more. Maybe two more for the Tyranids. The Tyranids do have more miniatures in this box. So this will be Tyranid Prime, and then the Terminator Captain? Yes, the Captain in Terminator armor. Comes with a base piece, and then the winged Tyranid Prime. here, yes, here we go. Here are the Neurogaunts. Neurogaunts are a new form of Gaunt in 10th edition. They, at least to my knowledge, did not exist prior to 10th edition. So that is kind of interesting. They have like a psychic... Oh, wait. No. These are Neurogaunts and Barb Gaunts. So here on the left, we have the Barb Gaunts. I was trying to figure out why these were so much larger. These are the Barb Gaunts, and then these are the Neurogaunts, which are a much smaller Gaunt miniature. Looks like they're probably 28 millimeter bases. That makes much more sense. Much more sense. Excellent. All right. Let's see what else we got. Then we have some of the new Terminator sculpts for Space Marines. That the Space Marine Terminators have gotten new sculpts really does make me hopeful that Chaos Marines Terminators will also get new sculpts. They're kind of old. The Chaos Space Marine sculpts for it are rather old. And then here is another Space Marine. This is not the Lieutenant. This doesn't look like the Librarian. Is this the... Or maybe this is an additional... this is also part of the Terminator sprue, I believe. Not 100% sure. We'll have to pull them out of the box and assemble them. This, though, this is the Librarian. The Librarian in Terminator armor. Looks pretty cool. I like that they went with an axe instead of with the force weapon or a stave. The axe is a nice touch for it. Then we have the Decimator Squadron. Sorry, Infernus Squad, which is Space Marines with flamethrowers. It's pretty cool. Like the flamethrowers, they look cool. That's all I have on that one. Again, the Infernus Squadron. Makes sense with a 10-man unit in the box. This is... Oh, that's interesting. Okay. It looks like the Lieutenant in this box may be unique to this box. Lieutenant in Phobos armor. Based on his weapons on the art, that is these. This is his base. Yes, so some section of this portion should be the Lieutenant in Phobos armor. This portion here is part of the Apothecary Biologus, the Apothecary Biologus. So that's all on this sprue. Then I guess what else is on here? So this weapon is part of the Sternguard Veteran Squad. So this must be Sternguard Veterans, the Apothecary, and the Lieutenant. That's an odd choice, I think, for what you're getting. Although it does kind of mirror the Screamer Killer sprue, as the Screamer Killer sprue also has additional models on it. So I guess that's mirroring this, but it only has looks like it has the Screamer Killer, the Neurotyrant, and that's it. I mean, there's nothing else on the sprue, I don't think. Doesn't look like, at least. So this might be the equivalent of the Necron Royal Court or the Space Marine version of that from the Indomitus box, which is an interesting choice, as the Tyranid half would only have 2 models on it. I guess technically it has 4 models on it, because the Neurotyrant comes with these 2 little orb things. The Neurotyrant comes with 2 of these guys, which also have a base. They're also the same thing that kind of floats on its back when it's fully assembled. Although I don't have a picture of that for you at the moment. So it is interesting to me that the Stern Guard, Veterans, the Apothecary, and the Lieutenant in Phobos armor are all on one sprue, which means this will probably be a long time to be released. The Apothecary is an interesting choice with that because that's one I would have expected they would have wanted to have released in its own box at some point, because I suspect that would sell pretty well. But maybe the thought is, well, people already have Apothecaries. This one is an Apothecary in Gravis armor, but I don't know if that changes the rules for him in any way. I am not a big Space Marine guy. I prefer, of the Space Marine type factions, Custodes are more my jam. Another inset to protect the rest of the box from the miniatures. That will be going in when I'm done. Some bases down there. Let's pull this up. So this has a little cardboard set on it to hold the instruction manual to the back. Pull that off. Set that down real quick. And so if we can flip through this in a moment. I'll get this rule book out of the way. This is the Leviathan edition cover. Space Marine Terminator on one side and the Tyranid on the other. Open it up to Genestealer Cults. How fortuitous. Lots of art normally in these. Really like them. Some chaos here. It's pretty nice. What I really want to look for is, Chaos Knights. Excellent. I like Chaos Knights. That is one of the armies I play. So this one comes with Combat Patrol, Crusade rules. Okay. So apparently, based on the pre-orders, the new version of the rulebook that goes up for pre-order today, or the release weekend of the Leviathan launch box, is not containing the Crusade rules. That will be a separate book. Apparently. Let's see, Saturday pre-orders. The core rulebook, the limited edition core rulebook, and then Crusade Tyrannic War, which is the narrative campaign in the new edition, which is the first Crusade supplement. So I'm not 100% sure if you actually need this Crusade Tyrannic War to run Crusade missions, or if they're also in the main rulebook, you just won't have those missions available. So one of the side notes is this content is also included in the Warhammer 40,000 Leviathan book, so you won't need it if you picked up the box set. So the Leviathan box rulebook does come with some extra Crusade content that is not available in the main pre-order book. Well, that's interesting. That's a interesting choice. So there are also supposed to be some mission cards, but transfer sheet for some of the various Space Marine factions. Looks like Imperial Fists, Space Wolves, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Ultramarines, the usual, and then squad markings and that sort of thing. And then there should be bases in here. Ah, yes. So for the larger miniatures, I have seen some of these already assembled when I picked up the box today, but I don't remember what any of these go to. And then we also have the Leviathan mission cards and the rest of the bases, which we're not opening because they are just bases. Just slide that back in real quick. Set those back in. And then, so let's take a look. Sometimes these cardboard boxes tear when you open them, or they tear for me when I open them, which may just be a personal thing. All right. let's see, mission, a Leviathan games, which is basically instructions, and then some objective tokens. Yeah, as box sets go, that's not terrible. I want to say that this retails for about $30 or $35 American. So as an add-in, not too bad. These don't normally see reprinting in the sense that they aren't normally FAQ'd later. They normally will have a set of something similar available for purchase, but you of course don't have to. Right. So then we have the instructions. Starts off with Space Marines, Captain in Terminator armor, then the Librarian. I do like the Librarian with the axe. That is a really nice choice, I think. Then the Apothecary Biologist and a Lieutenant in Phobos armor. So yet another Space Marine Lieutenant, but can you do? And then the Stern Guard Squad. So this entire 2 pages is 1 sprue, I believe. Or does it roll over? Oh, nope, it rolls over. So the rest of them are over here. Then we have the Terminator Squad, which should be 5 Terminators, plus a homing beacon or teleport homer. Then the Infernus Squadron. Okay, seeing them on the models, they look okay, but they look almost slightly too large for the model, the flamethrowers that this Infernus Squad has. They just look slightly too large. Or the model looks slightly too small for them. That's probably fine. Could just be me. And also not seeing them on the actual model, just in the booklet, can also be throwing me off in terms of what it actually looks like. Then we have the Ballistus Dreadnought, which is the purely ranged Dreadnought. So you get a missile launcher, pod, and a blast cannon, I believe. And those do attach, so you don't even glue these in, so you can take them off. So if you had the other weapons for a different Dreadnought, or one of the, you could easily swap them and just have the one chassis painted up and paint up all your weapons how you wanted if you weren't going to bring multiples of the same Dreadnought, or multiple Dreadnoughts, I should say. And then the painted up Ultramarines color Space Marines. Then we move on to the Tyranids. We have the winged Tyranid Prime, which looks like that is the only option for your building of him. Then we have the Neuro Tyrant and the Neuroloids, which are these little tiny bubble things. Do they have one of his back? Let's see. Yeah, so it looks like these sort of little things are also those Neuroloids, which is a nice little touch that he kind of like deploys them. No idea what his rolls do. Haven't bothered looking, to be honest. By the time I get this set up, it may very well be... By the time I get this entire box built, it may very well be 12th edition. I move fairly slowly on these, I hate to say it. Here's the Screamer Killer. He is very chunky. I have seen this one in person already. Chunky, which is great. Really like it. Yep, so that's all 1 sprue here. And then we have the Von Ryan's Leapers. Von Ryan's Leapers. The Lictor is a different model, throwing me off. And then let's see, then we have the Gaunts. These are Termagaunts, followed by Neurogaunts, which are a smaller model. So it looks like, the Termagaunts are on 28 millimeters, and the Neurogaunts are on 25s. I would show you on this, but I can't get the thing to focus. I may need a different camera. And then also Ripper Swarms, which I believe comes with 2 of them. Those are great. Really like those. It looks like you could use those as basing material pretty easily. Just lop off the little peg for this base, and then you've got some little rippers to put around some of your other bases. Not sure if Ripper Swarms are good, but the old Scarabs for Necrons I used to do that with. And then we have barb gaunts, which are like their heavy weapon artillery gaunts, I believe. And then we have the Psychophage, which I would suspect will come up in one of the starter sets. That would be my guess based on the way the sprues are cut. I would suspect you won't see the Screamer Killer and Neuro Tyrant in a separate box based on the way the sprue is. But everything else will probably make its way out. So like the Termagants are on their own sets of sprue. The Neurogants, oh, those are, I believe those are on a breakable sprue with the, or one of the larger rectangles of sprue, but they're on their own rectangle. So you'll probably see those in their own box at some point. Sooner rather than later, I should say. And here is the Tyranid side. Probably painted up in High Fleet Leviathan, though I couldn't tell you. So that is the Leviathan launch box for 10th edition. If you liked this video, drop a like. If you'd like to see more, hit subscribe. See you next time.